Paul Henry. Buddha's Brain by Rick Hanson. I heard a story once about a Native American elder who was asked how she had become so wise, so happy, and so respected. She answered, "In my heart there are two wolves, a wolf of love and a wolf of hate. It all depends on which one I feed each day." This story always gives me a little shiver. It's both humbling and hopeful. First, the wolf of love is very popular, but who among us does not also harbor a wolf of hate? We can hear it snarling both far away in distant wars and close to home in our own anger and aggression, even toward people we love. Second, the story suggests that we have the ability, grounded in daily actions, to encourage and strengthen empathy, compassion, and kindness, while also restraining and reducing ill will, disdain, and aggression. What are these wolves, and where did they come from? And how can we feed the wolf of love and starve the wolf of hate? This chapter considers the first question. The next two chapters explore the second. The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt by Edmund Morris. Given her extreme youth and the protective aura of wealth and privilege that had always surrounded her, Alice, not surprisingly, proved to be as elusive a prize as Theodore had ever hunted. His ardor was so violent, in courtship as in everything else, that he periodically frightened her away, like a nervous doe. Then he would have to restrain himself, and with soft words and soothing gestures coax her near again. She found him by no means a romantic attraction. The slight stench of arsenic that emanated from his clothes, the tickly whiskers and glittering glasses, the manic bursts of energy which left him white and sick with exhaustion, his geyser-like garrulousness, choked by stammers which would inevitably explode under the pressure of more words boiling up inside him, his exuberant hopping on the dance floor, so perilous to lace pantaloons, the blood-curdling stories of wolves and bears, the black eyes from boxing, the nervous diarrhea, the alarming hiss of asthma in his lungs. These were not the things girls of polite background dreamed about, except perhaps in nightmares. Yet Alice could not help being intrigued by him and flattered by his adoration. How different he was from those boring young Boston Brahmins, and, so far as she knew, from everybody else in the human race. How side-splitting he could be when he told jokes in that curious falsetto of his. Her quick mind rejoiced in his intelligence, and her body, when they skated together, to the masculine hardness of his arms. Even as she sprang away from him, she took care not to spring too far. Not that there was any risk of him abandoning the chase. Theodore, like his father before him, almost always got what he wanted. The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. Chapter 56. When Catherine Solomon finally saw the massive bronze doors of the library swing open before her, she felt as if an emotional floodgate had burst. All the fear and confusion she had bottled up tonight came pouring through. The figure in the library doorway was Warren Bellamy, a friend and confidant of her brother's. But it was the man behind Bellamy in the shadows whom Catherine felt happiest to see. The feeling was apparently mutual. Robert Langdon's eyes filled with relief as she rushed through the doorway, directly into his arms. As Catherine lost herself in the comforting embrace of an old friend, Bellamy closed the front door. She heard the heavy lock click into place, and at last she felt safe. Tears came unexpectedly, but she fought them back. Langdon held her. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're okay." "Because you saved me," Catherine wanted to tell him. "He destroyed my lab, all my work, years of research up in smoke." She wanted to tell him everything, but she could barely breathe. "We'll find Peter." Langdon's deep voice resonated against her chest, comforting her somehow. "I promise." "I know who did this," Catherine wanted to yell. "The same man who killed my mother and nephew." Before she could explain herself, an unexpected sound broke the silence of the library. The loud crash echoed up from beneath them in a vestibule stairwell, as if a large metal object had fallen on the tile floor. Catherine felt Langdon's muscles stiffen instantly. Bellamy stepped forward, his expression dire. "We're leaving, now." Bewildered, Catherine followed as the architect and Langdon hurried across the great hall towards the library's famed reading room, which was ablaze with light. Bellamy quickly locked the two sets of doors behind them, first the outer, then the inner. Catherine followed in a daze as Bellamy hustled them both toward the center of the room. The threesome arrived at a reading desk, where a leather bag sat beneath a light. Beside the bag there was a tiny cube-shaped package, which Bellamy scooped up and placed inside the bag, alongside a... Catherine stopped short. A pyramid? Although she had never seen this engraved stone pyramid, she felt her entire body recoil in recognition. Somehow, her gut knew the truth. Catherine Solomon had just come face to face with the object that had so deeply damaged her life. The pyramid. Bellamy zipped up the bag and handed it to Langdon. "Don't let this out of your sight." A sudden explosion rocked the room's outer doors. The tinkling of shattered glass followed. "This way," Bellamy spun, looking scared now as he rushed them over to the central circulation desk. 8 counters around a massive octagonal cabinet. He guided them in behind the counters and then pointed to an opening in the cabinet. "Get in there." "In there?" Langdon demanded. "They'll find us for sure." "Trust me," Bellamy said. "It's not what you think."